All right, so we're going to start then the class with you. Hello, Karen. How are you? How do you feel today?
Hi, teacher. Good evening. I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Great. That's great to know. I'm fine as well, Karen. Thank you for asking. So we're going to go to the next lesson, but actually before going to the next lesson, we're going to work on an activity. Perhaps in 5 minutes, let's say, okay, we're going to work personal review with you as we are waiting for your partners and with the ones that are going to be here in the 5 minutes to come. We're going to work with a listening activity, and after that, you're going to write something. Okay, and after that one, we're going to go to the next lesson because it's a very short and simple lesson as well. So the things that we have to do now is practicing. So a short review. What do you remember one more time, Karen? Very shortly. You explained that one, but let's do it again, please. Past continuous and simple past with when. One more time. What do you remember about the things that we practiced and remember on Monday about this lesson?
Okay, past continuous is an ongoing action, and the simple past, well, it is an action that happened, happened and finished this specific moment. Well, when past, for example, when we have past continuous, uh, this tense with the past continuous is an action that starts sometime in the past and still continue, and then some action in the simple past occur in the time of the past continuous, but the action of past continuous continue after the action of the simple past.
Great. I think that's summarizing everything very well, Karen. So good. Good. That's everything we need to know about simple past and past continuous. An ongoing action, a context, and in between that ongoing action, many things can happen, right? So I was running last night at 8 p.m. when many actions can happen in that when, right? When something happened, when you called me, when I saw something, when I tripped, right? When I listened to something, when I remembered something, and so on and so forth, right? So as you were running, many other actions in the simple past could have happened, right? And we got to see the definition, some examples, and the main thing over here is this one, right? The possibilities to use the simple past with the past continuous in different formulas. The most common formula is when, with the when in the middle, but it can be inverted and the same with while, right? And mainly we use while with past continuous. But that's it, all right? There's no, I think, there's nothing that we can still review about this one because we covered this 2 or 3 times even, Karen. So I believe that that's going to be it with this lesson. I don't know if you have any questions about this one before going to the activity in some 3 minutes scan. So what do you say? Any questions about the simple past and the past continuous?
Yes, teacher, when we use these clouds, when and while, in the person, I saw that use, for example, simple past plus when plus simple past. Is we can do that?
Exactly. With when, as you're going to see here, I don't believe I have an example using that one. No, I don't. But yes, the only difference, Karen, is that you need to be careful with the order because it's not going to be clear which happened first. Actually, when you say, right, I did this when you did that, it means that first you did that and then I did this, right? So when you use the simple past in both actions, I'm going to use this one. Give me a second. When you use the when with the past continuous and the simple past, we know that the first action is always the past continuous, right? But if we use past simple in both cases, the first action is going to be the action next to when, and then you're going to have this action. Okay, so it's going to be the opposite. So if you use simple past, the action next to went is the first action, and this action here is the second action. But when you use the past continuous, this first action in past continuous is the first action, and this action after when is the second action. Okay, so it changes. It is possible, but the meaning is going to be different. And here, actually, I'm showing you these formulas because in the lesson they said that you should cover past continuous and simple past, but it is possible. Also here, as you can see, you can use past continuous while past continuous, but you can also use simple past while past continuous, or even simple past plus while plus simple past. Okay, so in the two cases, you can do it, Karen. There's not going to be a problem. We just have to be careful with the meaning and the order of the actions. Okay, just that one, Karen. I don't know if you have any other questions about that.
No, teacher.
Okay, good. So let's do the following, please. It's already 7:55. So I believe that perhaps if Nazarena and Michaela are going to join, it's going to be a little bit late. If not, again, I'm going to try to make them work on that activity, or perhaps they're going to try to wait a little bit. But let's work on this one, please. And or actually, and even before starting with this one, I'm going to take advantage. I don't know if you got to see the post that I made a few days ago on the stream here on Google Classroom. And I want to read this for you, all right? And you're going to tell me, please, if there's going to be an inconvenience. Why? Because we can look for different alternatives, all right? The thing is that you know that we have a day off, let's say day off on November the 2nd, all right? That's supposed to be our free day, our holiday. Now, this is my proposal. I want to change this for the following reason. Okay, I got a presentation on Thursday, the 27th, and it's not going to be possible that I'm going to be here, all right, with you. And remember, on Thursdays, we have the conversations. Okay, it means next week, Thursday, I will have my presentation. All right, so this is my my idea, and again, you tell me if it's going to work with you. It says on Thursday the 27th, I got a presentation, so we won't be able to have private conversations. Thus, to replace that day, I'll ask you to do me a favor, okay, a big favor. This is the favor. Let's have those private conversations on Wednesday, November the 2nd instead. Okay, only if it's possible. Remember that you only need 15 minutes. And if you want, again, you can just select the schedule in which you are working with me, usually right on Thursday, but you can have the conversations with me even earlier if it's better for you. Okay, so if you accept to have the conversations with me on Wednesday, the 2nd instead of Thursday the 27th, you are going to be able to have the conversations earlier with me, or if you want, you can keep the same schedule that you got. All right, now that's the first option. If it works for you to only have 15 minutes, right, conversations with me, only one conversation on Wednesday the 2nd, it's great. The second alternative is that if it's not possible for some of you, perhaps I'm going to ask you to try to replace that one in the previous conversations, and perhaps the one person, or we can take turns, and the one person that is in the last part of the conversation, that is usually from 10 to 10:15, it's going to be like some extra time to try to have some extra 15 minutes to work on one of the previous days to that conversation, or one of the following days to that conversation. All right, but let me know, please, in your case, girls, Karen and Lucia, is this going to work for you? Do you prefer to have the replacement of the class in a different day of the conversation, having extra time, or perhaps even be after the class just for 15 minutes? Let me know, please, what's going to work for you both, Karen and Lucia, okay? To take that into consideration and to look for a solution in case this doesn't work.
Good evening, Karen and Professor. For me, it works well on 2nd of November. It's okay.
Good, perfect. Thank you very much, Lucia. Then with you, it means again, right? On Thursday, the 27th, we don't have a conversation. Instead, with you, it's going to be November the 2nd. All right, good. Thank you. And what about you, Karen?
No, I don't have problem, teacher. For me, it's okay.
Perfect. Great. Thank you very much, Karen. So let's do the following then. Again, you're going to schedule your conversations as you always do on Thursday, the 27th. All right. So you pick your time. But instead of having the conversation on that day, you're going to join at that time, or even if you want, also, that's something I'm going to ask you now. If you want, it can be a little bit before. All right, but that's it. Good. So we're good on that one. Again, and later on, I'm going to verify if it's going to be possible for your partners as well, so that all of you can have similar schedules and we can have the conversations continuously. All right, but again, if you want to have the conversations before, you can also let me know, Lucia and Karen, but you select the usual schedules for Thursday the 27th. All right, good. Now, let's go then to the activity that I was talking about. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to turn off my camera and you're going to listen to a story. Remember that we finished with simple past and past continuous. All right. So you're going to listen to a story. It's going to be kind of 4 minutes long. Okay, 4 minutes. So please try to take notes. I think it's going to be clear. I think, of course, there are some words that are going to be kind of new, but don't pay attention to those words. Try to pay attention to the overall idea of this story. Why? Because after listening to it, you are going to write the story. You're going to summarize the story, okay? But you're not going to do it in our document. You're going to do it in a Word document in your computers, on your computers. Why? Because I want you to work personally first, individually, and after you finish writing everything, you're going to copy and paste the information right into the Google Classroom, into the Google Docs document, so that we can read the story and we're going to see if we had similar ideas, of course we should have, or if we have changed something, because it happens, right? We perhaps are going to change some information, but that's the idea. I don't know if you have any questions about that. Again, we're going to listen to a 4-minute story. After that, you work on a summary by yourselves, okay, on a Word document on your computers. I'm going to give you some time to write a summary of that story. And after that, you copy and paste the information to share it with your partners and with me. We read that information, we check some possible mistakes, corrections, and with that, we go to the next part. All right, so do you have any questions before starting with that one? No?
Nothing.
All right, good. So let's take notes, please. It's going to be very important to take notes. I believe that it's only going to be one time that we're going to play it. Only if we have technical problems, we're going to play it 2 times. Okay, but let's have it only 1 time. That's the ideal. Let's do it, please. Again, I'm turning off my camera, my microphone, and you are only going to listen to that story. I'm going to ask you if you can listen to it. Let me play it for you now.
It's so good to see you, Paul.
All right, can you listen to that one? Let me know if you can listen to it very well, please.
Yes, teacher.
Okay,
Just listen, right, Professor? Not see something.
Exactly, just listening. In this case, just listening, Lucia.
Okay.
Good. So let's do it, please. Again, perhaps you know this one. Tell me, Lucia, sorry.
Repeat, just we have to take notes, right? The first step.
Exactly, take notes, but again, you can take as many notes as you can because you are supposed later on to work on a summary, and we are only going to listen once. Okay, so it's important to take as many notes as you can.
So a summary of the story.
Of the story, exactly. Good. So let's do it, please. I'm going to play it once again, and let's try to take again as many notes as you can. Perhaps you know and you're going to recognize this story. Perhaps even you watched this before, all right? But again, try to take notes because it's going to be something specific. So here we go.
It's so good to see you, Paul. Have you lost weight? I can almost put my wings around you.
Well, maybe a little.
Oh, poor you. You must feel weak. Let me get you some soup.
No, that's okay, Dad. I'm not hungry.
Not hungry? Paul, are you all right?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Earlier today, I was fighting these bandits.
Uh-huh.
Nothing too dangerous. I mean, they were just,
Yeah?
And then the strangest thing happened. I had this crazy vision. I think I saw my mom and me as a baby.
Mom? A baby?
Dad,
What is that?
how do I say this? Where did I come from?
Well, you see, son, baby geese come from a little egg. Don't ask me where the egg comes from.
Dad, that's not what I meant.
I know it's not. I think it's time I told you something I should have told you a long time ago.
Okay.
You might have been kind of adopted.
I knew it.
You knew? Well, who told you?
No one. I mean, come on, Dad.
But if you knew, why didn't you ever say anything?
Why didn't you say anything? How did I get here, Dad? Where did I come from?
Actually, you came from this. It was just another day at the restaurant. Time to make the noodles. I went out to the back where my vegetables had just been delivered. There were cabbages, turnips, radishes. Only there were no radishes. Just a very hungry baby panda. There was no note. Of course, you could have eaten it. I waited for someone to come looking for you, but no one did. I brought you inside. Fed you. Gave you a bath. And fed you again. And again. And tried to put some pants on you. And then I made a decision that would change my life forever. To make my soup without radishes. And to raise you as my own son. Xiaopo, my little panda. And from that moment on, both my soup and my life have been that much sweeter. And little Po, that's the end of the story. Look at me. No, don't look at me.
That's it? That can't be it. There's gotta be more, Dad.
Well, there was the time you ate all my bamboo furniture. It was imported too.
All right, good. That's going to be the main part, actually, because later on there's going to be, well, okay, the scene is going to continue, but that's not going to be, well, that important for our activity. And again, of course, everything is not going to be that clear because this is just part, right, of something bigger, that is a movie. But the idea is that you can recognize, right, words, and that you can be able to summarize all that information, all right, into something that can be understandable, into something organized, because now you're going to be writing about it. All right, so that's what we're going to do, please. In order to have this ready, we're going to do this with you both girls, Karen and Lucia, and with you, Nazarena, we're going to have another activity. I'm going to tell you, please, in a couple of minutes what you're going to do, but let me stop sharing my sound. I'm going to share my computer.
Okay, teacher, thank you so much.
Okay, no, you're welcome. So let's do the following then. Again, let's not use this file yet. Let me turn on my camera. Let's not use this file yet, please, Karen and Lucia. Instead, use a Word document, all right? And try to write, please, a summary of everything that you were able to understand on that Word document. As always, for these writing exercises, we have from 5 to 6 minutes, so we're going to have more or less the same. Perhaps to try to summarize everything, we're going to have up to 8 minutes. It means that you are one more time supposed to write at least 1.5 paragraphs or 2 paragraphs would be ideal, trying to give all the important details that you can remember. All right, so that's for you, Karen Lucia. And I'm going to work something different with Nazarena, but I want to know if you have any questions so that I can give you the time and you can start writing that. So what do you say, Lucia, Karen? Any questions about this assignment?
No, teacher. So now we start to write in our own document.
Yes, please. Don't write here yet. You have to write in your own document, exactly, on a Word document on your computers only. And when the time is up, 8 minutes, I'm going to tell you to copy and paste the information here, okay? But first, I want you to do it individually, and I don't want you to share the information yet, all right?
Okay.
Good. Let's do it then, please, girls. Karen, Lucia, you can start now. The timer is going to be here, and I'm going to be giving the assignment to Nazarena. Okay, so let's start, please, girls. All right. Now, with you, Nazarena, in order, please, as we are working with a listening exercise, with you, we're going to try to work on that one perhaps later on, but let's also work on the same topic. We're still working on past, and this is to finish the topic about past in Nazarena. So as your partners are just summarizing a story, that's what you're going to do. All right, you're going to summarize a story as well. But I'm sure that you saw, or yes, you saw that you watched many movies, many series, all right? And that you remember, right? The plot, it means the argument, the main idea, or you remember the story of that movie and series. All right, so in your case, please, Nazarena, what you're going to do is that you're going to tell me the story. All right, you're going to narrate or just tell me the story briefly in 1.5 paragraphs or 2 paragraphs better of any movie or series or just a story that you remember and that you like. Okay, that's the only thing you're going to be doing now, Nazarena. I don't know if you have any questions about that instruction.
Okay, teacher, perfect.
Okay, good. Let's do it, please. Again, here it's 1 minute and 20. So here you're going to have until the 10 minutes. Okay, so when the timer is in the minute 10, you are going to stop writing. All right, the girls is until 8 and yours is until 10. And again, try to write, please, everything in past, and the story has to be well connected because you need to tell me again anything that you want. That can be a movie, series, or any story. Okay, I don't know if you have any questions before starting with you, Nazarena.
Okay, teacher, thank you. I will write the story
Great.
now.
Good, let's do it,
In
please.
my own document, right?
Yeah, in your case, as you're just writing a summary of the movie, you can do it directly here, Nazarena, okay? It's not going to be a problem because you're writing your own story. So the link is in the chat. If you
Perfect,
want,
thank you.
you can work on a new document or your own, of if not, directly here.
Thank you.
Good, you're welcome. So we'll be in contact, please, in some minutes. Work on your stories, please, or your summary. All right. So we are on the 8th minute. So it means that with you, please, Karen and Lucia, we're done. Stop writing, and please now you can copy and paste the information into the file. Okay, let's do it, please, Karen and Lucia. And Nazarena, you have, let's say, 2 more minutes. And after the 2 minutes, we check that one with you. Right? So let's do it, please, again. Girls, Karen, Lucia, we're going to read now the summary of your stories. And we're going to continue working to finish with this lesson and start with a very short one that is reported speech with imperatives. Now, something that I wanted to do, you know the document is there, but just in case, I'm sharing the link once again. It's in the chat. So as soon as you have your stories over there, we are going to read them out, and we're going to try to practice also with some of your partners over here. All right, let me know also, please, if you're having some problems. I think you both are still missing. Good. I see now you're scanning. So we're going to do the following. All right. Someone else is going to read this one. And in this case, Michaela is going to read it for us so that we can also work with her in this activity. Also, we're in the 10 minutes, Nazarena, so you can be finishing your last ideas, and we're going to check yours as well. All right, so Karen, this is yours, but please, Michaela, you're going to read Karen's story. Yes, can you hear me, Karen?
I don't finish. I think that I still maybe in the middle of the story.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Professor.
Sorry.
The same, right? Good, don't worry. Until the part that you were able to write, it's good, right? As we use 10 minutes, perhaps it's going to be the time that we can use now, because later on we need to cover the lesson. Just because of time, all right? We're going to read what you got there, and then you're going to complete the information that you remember by speaking. Okay, so only in writing, let's read this one, and then speaking, you complement that idea, please. Then let's do it, please. Michaela, let's read, please, Karen's story or summary of the story, please. Starting here.
Okay. The story starts when a father talked with his son. He said that his son looked at he lost weight and also asked if he wanted to eat soup. The son named Pooh said that he did not hungry and talked about a dream about his mother and he as a baby. The father started to get nervous about the dream of son and Pooh noticed that and asked where did it come from. Until this moment, his father was so worried, then he started telling.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, Michaela. Now, let's complement. Let's read this word, please. Sorry, Michaela. This is going to be more like nervous, more like Good, very good. Thank you. Good. Okay, so let's analyze. Then we're going to compare your stories, Karen and Lucia, at least the beginning. Both of you are going to tell me what else you remember. And then we are going to watch, actually, right, the video so that we can confirm some information. All right. So first, only some corrections. The story starts when a father talks, right, to his son. Okay, good. It's a general description, so you can use present. It's not incorrect. He said that his son looks, but here you are saying this, we're mixing the tenses, right? Said, and then his son looks. Perhaps we can still use past ideas. Why? Because here, all right, we're going to also try to analyze that. Okay, so here you can use, if you want, past. This is just an alternative. All right, if that's going to work better. Looked as he, but no, if you're going to say this as a comment or as a possibility, you're going to use the conditional if. All right, as if he lost weight. And also, right here, if you remember or if you notice, this is another sentence, another complete sentence, right? Said that his son lost weight or looked as he lost weight, comma, and comma, also, comma, right? Why? Because this is going to be an interrupter, right? And the beginning of another idea. And also, and the next one is going to be the verb, right? And also asked, or he asked to have sorry, the subject one more time, because we have a lot of information before. So a good idea is to use the subject one more time. And here we don't need a comma, right? And if you have, this is an indirect speech, this is a yes, no question. And for yes, no questions in reported speech, we use if, right? But I think here you're using if. So here, perhaps you don't say he, you want to say him, right? Ask him if he, over here, right, wanted to eat soup. Okay, just the order of the words, because we use a sentence order and we need an object first after this, then the conditional for yes, no questions in reported speech, and then the sentence in the tense that you want to use, right? If he wanted to eat soup. Then the son named Pooh said that he did not, but remember that with hungry, we are going to use, yeah, and more than half actually, it's going to be the verb to be, okay? Remember that with H, with being hungry and with being thirsty, we don't use the verb have, we use be, all right? To be hungry, to be thirsty, all right? Have hungry is going to be incorrect. Then, Paul said that he was not hungry and talked about a dream about his mother and he as a baby. All right, here, let's see what the correction is going to be. Yes, this is just, if you're going to use directly the verb, you are going to use he being a baby. All right, this is going to be one alternative. If you want to use the subject, okay, let me just write that one. Okay, of him being a baby, and here like that. All right, and you can say as a baby as well, so you can use the exact words that they used. The father started to get nervous about the dream of son and Pooh. Notice, okay, the dream here.
His son, I forgot the word.
Okay, you want to say here started to get nervous about the dream
Of his son.
Okay, good. Of his son, and here we need a comma because we're using that, right? Good. And Paul noticed, right, and asked. Good. So here you are, but as you're talking about past, right, noticed, then this is also going to be asked, right? Then good. You're using colon or semicolon. But if you're using colon here, you have to use quotation mark, right? Now here you're missing a subject.
Yes.
It would be
Right. Where did I?
Right. Good. Where did I come from? Right. Until this moment, this is going to be an introductory phrase. Right. Until this moment, comma, his father was so. Worry is a verb, but the adjective is going to be worried. All right. Worried with ed and I. Worried. Then he started telling, and then you continue with the story. Okay. So those are my corrections. I know that there's more to write over there, and you're going to do it, but after we finish with this activity, Karen, I don't know first if you have any questions about these corrections or details that I showed you in this part.
No, teacher.
All right, good. So let's continue. Again, then we're going to continue with the activity where this is the first part. For the second part, also, again, for you to participate in this one, Micaela, let's please also read Lucia's story that is over here.
Okay. At the beginning, two characters were talking with character A invites Sue to B. Afterward, while both of them were eating, B told A about his vision. That vision talked about him as a baby and his mom. Subsequently, while B was telling his story, he asked him the question, "Where do I come from?" And A replied he was adopted.
Thank you. Just this word, please, Michaela. This is going to be replied. Replied.
Replied.
Great. Thank you very much, Michaela. Good. Great. I think it's also an interesting approach. And I think here we're able to identify very main ideas, right? In the sense that perhaps this is going to be very important, all right? That person or that character being adopted, right? I think that's key. Yes, and having a conversation involves also this one, right? A vision. But you also mentioned that one, Karen. So I think it's good, right? The dream about the mother and that character being a baby or him as a baby, also as you're saying here, both are correct. So good. And I believe that I have no observations over here. Let me just verify. So at the beginning, comma, the idea, right? They were talking when, right? A character, one of them invited soup to someone else. Afterwards, comma, while both, comma, both told about his vision. Okay. B told A, okay, about his vision. Good. Now here, it's good. It's an option, but there's a thing that we have to do. If this is the last part of your idea, then Lucia, you don't need another dash to clear that one. You just finished with a period, okay? Because that's the end of that idea. And why? Because with that, you are finishing this. Actually, this is only one big complex sentence, okay? All of this is only one complex sentence. This is one clause. This is the second clause. And this is the extra idea and complement for the second clause, right? So only that one, that correction. And also here, remember, if you only use a dash, that's an end dash, it's going to be incorrect. You have to use the double dash or the end dash. If you don't have that on your computer, you only use dash times, okay? Like this, sorry. Dash, okay, and it's going to become the M dash. And the M dash has to be just right to the word, okay? You don't need a space. They are going to be just next to the two words, okay? So vision, that vision talked about him as a baby and his mom, all right? Here, also one recommendation, as we know that you're talking about the vision, because that's the only thing that it's not clear here, you don't need to mention the vision one more time. Instead, you can simply say it, all right? And also, you don't need capital letter here. As you're using sometimes, if you use colon or if you use dash to clarify information after this, you don't need to use a capital letter. All right, so we are going to avoid repetition with vision. We are not going to use capital letter. The M dash, that is double dash, is going to be just right next to the two words. And you don't use a dash to close that one when it's the end of the idea. Okay, directly a period and then go to the next part. Then subsequently, this is a great word. While B was telling his story, he asked him the question, right? And good, I think the question is good, or you can say ask him the following or the following question, but that's alternative. Where do I come from? Now here, as you're using period, anytime you use period for ask a specific word, you have to use quotation marks, all right? And yes, and then you have the next part, right? And A replied that here, just to be more formal, that he was adopted. And also, this is something extra, Lucia, as you're going to mention another complete idea with a fanboy and you have to use a comma, the best option is always to use the punctuation mark inside the quotation mark. Okay, so it's going to be, where do I come from, question mark, comma, quotation mark, and A replied that he was adopted. All right, so those are my recommendations or very little corrections, Lucia. I don't know if you have any questions about these details. Let me know, please.
No, teacher, is clear. Thank you so much.
Good. No, you're welcome. There you go. And now we're going to go with you, please, Nazarena. And one more time, please, Micaela. We're going to read this time Nazarena's story.
Okay. Once upon a time, there was a large family in a town, Colombia. They were living in a beautiful and nice house. This house used to have powers used for each member of the family. They had powers to help people of the town to complete tasks of the community, such as agriculture, or the boil, or fix something. However, one member of the family, who was a woman, was born without powers, but her goal was different. Even the mission of the woman was more important than only the powers of her family. She realized that her family was being destroyed, so she found the way to figure figure sorry the way to figure it out and fix many problems inside the family. All finished very well. They were called the Madrigal family.
Thank you very much, Micaela. All right, really interesting. I'm not sure that I've seen this one. You're going to tell me later on, Nazarena, but it seems to be very interesting. Let me just give you the corrections and then you can make some comments, all right? So good, this is a very good way, common, right? But very interesting way to start the story, right? Once upon a time. But this is just a clarification or introduction phrase. So you use a comma, okay? So once upon a time, comma, there was a large family in a town in Colombia, all right? They were living in a beautiful and nice house, period. Good, this house used to have powers. And now here you're talking about the house, right? That's why you're going to verify that one. So you say that the house used to have powers, all right? It's like the house has like powers, like the members in that house, Nazarena, or what do you mean when you say the house used to have powers?
The house, like the the building has powers. So
Okay.
maybe it's used to has powers.
No,
Used
it's
to
perfect.
have. Okay.
It's a have because as you're using to, you have to use the base verb. Okay, so it's very good. I was just not sure if you're talking about the house or the members in the house. So good. If that's the case, it's very good. So this house used to have powers. Again, sometimes when you use or when talk about something that it's a power, but not like a power, a political power, or a type of power that anybody can have. Sometimes you can even call directly, as you see that on TV, right, as a superpower, but it's enough if you say powers, okay? That's just alternative. Powers just for each member of the family. Okay, this is one complete idea, right? Used to have powers just for each member of the family. Then you cannot use comma because that's the end of the complete idea. How do you know? Because you have another subject. Okay, so if you use a comma, it's going to be incorrect. You have to use a semicolon at least or a period. Okay, so semicolon, they had powers to help people of the town to complete, or this again, just to remind you that it's optional. It's okay to say to complete, but remember that sometimes it's more natural to say just the base, but both are correct. Complete task of the community, such as, or remember, instead of using this one, also my recommendation is to say to complete community tasks, right? Community tasks. It's better to use that inversion, all right? Such as agriculture or to build or fix. And here you don't need this one directly, or to build or fix something, okay? Because you're already using or, and we are using these two for build or fix.
Okay.
All right. Good. And good. I think so far it's good. This is not a new element, so it's good without a comma. However, one member of the family, right, who was a woman, comma, great, was born here. That's a possibility. Okay, there are many ways to write this verb, but the most common is going to be just with born. Okay, but you don't need ed. This is going to be in the most common way without the ed. All right, because the active form of that verb, Nazarena, actually, this is going to be the present, like born. All right, but it's going to be just born. was born without powers, but her goal was different. Even here, you cannot use only even, you're going to say at least, even so. Okay, so even that this information is true, the mission of remember, women is going to be plural. Here you need a singular one. So it's going to be woman. Of the woman, what's more important than only the powers of her family? Then I think this is one idea. Then you need then a semicolon or a period. Okay, why? Because you have another complete idea. And here you're talking about a past story. So she realized, okay, she realized that her family was being destroyed. Now, comma. Why? Because again, you have another complete idea and you have a fanboy. So you're going to use comma. So she found the ways, okay, can be the ways, or only the way can be more than enough. I don't know, it depends on the context. After to, remember, you cannot use ed, you only need the base verb. All right. So the way to figure it out and fix many problems inside the family. Okay, now that's the end of the idea. And here also, this is just a complement for the idea, but all finish very well. That's a complete idea, and that's another idea. If it's connected, you can use semicolon, or if it's not, you can use period. All right, but one of them, if not, it's going to be incorrect. So here, instead of all, perhaps this is a better word, okay? Because all involve parts of something, but everything involves like absolutely everything. So everything finished very well. Period, they were called, and quotation marks, the Madrigal family. Okay, good. So I think just up to that part, I think it was interesting. Those are my corrections and observations, Nazarena. I don't know if you have any questions about that.
No, teacher, it's fine. It's fine if the way, it's fine said the ways, or when I use the is only for a singular thing.
No, you can use the for singular and plural, okay? It's up to you. But actually, in English, it's not going to be that common to say the ways of doing something. It's more common to say just, I found the way to do something, okay? It's going to be more common than saying the ways, but you can use plural and singular. It's just that in this case, it's better to use singular only. All right?
Thank you so much.
Good. Great. No, you're welcome, Nazarena. Good. Now, again, to be finishing with this activity, and then you're going to confirm the information, all of you girls, let's try to finish what you remember, okay? Very shortly. Let's have, please, 1 minute, okay, for both of you, Karen and Lucia, just the two of you, because you listened to the story. 1 minute each, please, and you're going to tell me how you can complete the story that you were telling me, only by reminding me again everything that you can tell me about it, okay? Just the things that you were able to take notes on. Let's start with you, please, Karen. Okay, are you ready? You're going to have 1 minute to finish telling me what you wanted to tell me here in your story, and try to complement important elements. Perhaps not everything, but just anything that is worth telling in 1 minute. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Good.
Okay.
Let's do it, please.
Teacher, I think that Lucia has a question.
Oh,
Maybe.
yes, Lucia, let me know, please.
Sorry, Professor. We have to complete speaking in the speaking or writing?
No, speaking, only speaking, not writing. Mhm.
Sorry.
Good.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. So let's do it, please. Karen, 1 minute, try to complete this one. Well, what you can say in 1 minute.
Okay, then he starts telling about where babies came. Paul, I don't know how to say his name, said that he needed to know the truth, and his father said it's time to tell you that you're adopted. Well, Paul knows that he was adopted. Then he asked to his father to tell him about where his father found Paul, everything about.
Good. Great, up to that part. Then if we have the time, we're going to complete that one. I think we're good. Now I'm going to go with Lucia, Karen. Thank you very much. Then I'm going to show you again the story so that you can confirm everything that you're telling me. So the same for you, please, Lucia. In 1 minute, try to complement the story that you were telling, or in general, you can give a summary to tell everything that you remember. Okay, you can start now, please.
Yeah, maybe like the summary of everything is like the beginning, the two main characters started talking, and after that the baby Pooh started to say that he had a vision, and based in that vision the other character, based on that vision and about his mom and he as a baby, the other character says that he was adopted, and but he says that he was adopted, but like I started to say, for example, I continue in the restaurant with my usual activities, and in the end finish something like, of course his life changed forever, but he's like his little panda and he's like his little Pope, something like that.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Lucia. There you go. Okay, now again, you're going to see it. Well, all of us are going to see this one more time. Of course, now you're going to watch the video as well. And I'm sure that perhaps you recognize, right? What is the name of this movie?
It's Kung Fu Panda, right?
Kung Fu Panda, exactly. It's Kung Fu Panda. Good. So let's take a look at that, please. I'm just going to look for the video. I'm going to share my screen one more time now, but let me find the video one more time so that we all can watch it once and we are good with that. Give me a minute. Okay, here it is. All right, I'm sharing my screen. All right. There you go. All right, so let's take a look at this one, please. And again, you can mainly, perhaps you, Karen and Lucia, you can see if you are using the right words, if you were understanding everything all right perfectly, or if some details just escape from your listening. And Micaela and Nazarena, you can also watch this again to try to get some words. And again, it's always good to practice. Okay, so let's take a look to this, please.
It's so good to see you, Paul. Have you lost weight? I can almost put my wings around you.
Well, maybe a little.
Oh, poor you. You must feel weak. Let me get you some soup.
No, that's okay, Dad. I'm not hungry.
Not hungry? Paul, are you all right?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Earlier today, I was fighting these bandits. Nothing too dangerous. I mean, they were just,
Yeah?
And then the strangest thing happened. I had this crazy vision. I think I saw my mom and me as a baby.
Mom? A baby?
Dad,
What is that?
how do I say this? Where did I come from?
Well, you see, son, baby geese come from a little egg. Don't ask me where the egg comes from.
Dad, that's not what I meant.
I know it's not. I think it's time I told you something I should have told you a long time ago.
Okay.
You might have been kind of adopted.
I knew it.
You knew? Well, who told you?
No one. I mean, come on, Dad.
But if you knew, why didn't you ever say anything?
Why didn't you say anything? How did I get here, Dad? Where did I come from?
Actually, you came from this. It was just another day at the restaurant. Time to make the noodles. I went out to the back where my vegetables had just been delivered. There were cabbages, turnips, radishes. Only there were no radishes. Just a very hungry baby panda. There was no note. Of course, you could have eaten it. I waited for someone to come looking for you, but no one did. I brought you inside. Fed you. Gave you a bath. And fed you again. And again. And tried to put some pants on you. And then I made a decision that would change my life forever. To make my soup without radishes. And to raise you as my own son. Xiaopo, my little panda. And from that moment on, both my soup and my life have been that much sweeter. And little Po, that's the end of the story. Look at me. No, don't look at me.
That's it? That can't be it. There's gotta be more, Dad.
Well, there was the time you ate all my bamboo furniture. It was imported too.
Okay, so that's it. That's the one that you were listening to. And again, right? Yes, it's from this movie, Kung Fu Panda. I'm sure that if not all of you, most of you have watched it. And it's great. Again, it's always good for practicing. And I don't know, just let me ask you something, and this is for you mainly girls, but you can also comment Micaela and Nazarena, but mainly you, Karen and Lucia. Were you able to get these ideas, or perhaps something was a little bit different than you thought it was? Let's start with you, Karen. What do you say? Were you able to get everything in the way now you saw it and that you were reading with the captions, or something was a little bit different that you thought it was?
Yes, at the beginning, I think that it was a dream that who had, but it was a vision. And then I couldn't recognize this vegetable at the beginning, radishes. I don't know how to pronounce.
The radishes, okay, radishes.
Yes, I didn't know what kind of vegetable was, but I think that is then I understand everything.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Karen. Good. The same for you, please, Lucia. What do you say? Was everything clear? Did you have all the information as you can see here, or something was a little bit different according to your notes?
Yeah, maybe 2 points. According to my notes, I wrote about the explanation of the egg that the father gives to the little panda, but I'm not very sure that's why I never say about that. And also in this video, I could clarify the part that explained when the little panda comes in the box of the vegetables. Meanwhile, he was doing the soup and the noodles and all the stuff, and yeah, now it makes sense.
Thank you very much, Lucia. Yes, right. I noticed that was something a little bit different, but I think, of course, that this is going to help a lot. And always, right, the video is a better reference. Of course, this is a movie. It's supposed to be watched, right? Not only listened to, but only listening to this also, it's a good, again, exercise to practice. All right. So thank you, girls. Now we're going to, again, work in this time that we have left, because one more time, what we got now, it's very, very simple and very short. Right, so let's go to it, please. And it's going to be this short presentation for report to speech. I'm going to start this one with you, Nazarena. When you read report to the speech, what comes to your mind? What is report to the speech for you, Nazarena?
It says something that someone else is telling to you, or maybe telling to someone.
Okay, good. Just remember, right, the conjugation of that verb is only going to be told, right? Has told to someone or has told to anyone, right? Okay, good. And when you say report to the speech, are you using the exact words or are you changing some words in Nazarena? What do you say?
Excuse me, teacher?
When you say report to the speech, do you say or do you use the exact words that the person said, or do you change the words a little bit? What do you say?
I have to change a little bit.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Nazarena. We're going to verify that. Okay. Let's see if that's going to be the case. Let's continue with you, Micaela. Also, that question, actually, Micaela. What Nazarena said was correct, right? Report to the speech, we are using someone else's words. But are we using the exact words or are we changing the words a little bit because of the tenses and so on, Micaela? What do you say?
Well, I think that depends of the situation, maybe, because, for example, if it's an order, maybe we can use the exact words.
Okay, good. And what example can you give me? It depends on the situation, but perhaps report to the speech refers only to one of them, exact words or changing words. But we're going to go there. The question here, Micaela, perhaps is the following, or actually an example. What example can you give me or of any report speech or report to the speech that you can think of?
Maybe the manager told you to request approval for every transaction, maybe.
Great. Only one question. I'm not sure the object after told. What is the object that you're using after told? The manager told. What is the person or the group of people receiving? Yeah, one more time, please. But you're saying like we, but in an object form, right? So try to make it more like us, told us.
Told us.
Told us, exactly. Good, very good. Thank you, Michaela. Yes, it is correct. The manager told us to, and then you put the verb after it. Okay, so good. I think Michaela gave us a great example over there because now I'm going to give you one example. We're talking about imperative. That's why this is short. An imperative is, for example, write 2 paragraphs. Okay, so if I tell you that, write 2 paragraphs, and I'm going to work now with you let's say I'm going to go one more time with you, Nazarena, all right? As we were working a lot with the girls, with Lucia and Karen, I'm going to work one more time with you 2 girls, please, Micaela and Nazarena. So Nazarena, if I say write 2 paragraphs, how can you use report to the speech to say what I'm saying? Imagine that Lucia is asking you about it. How can you tell Lucia my instruction using my own words?
Again, teacher, how was the sentence?
It was write 2 sentences. That's the instruction. Write 2 sentences. How do you communicate that instruction to Lucia? But again, you're mentioning that I said that.
Okay. Teacher taught me. Teacher says you have to write 2 sentences.
Okay, we're close, right? Remember, if you're only using a noun, it can be a teacher, right? But you can use my name over there. But let's suppose that you're going to use that noun, teacher. Remember that you need an article. What article are you going to use there, Nazarena? Are you going to say a teacher or the teacher? Which one is going to work over there?
The teacher.
Okay, good. Then imagine that I said that yesterday. How
The,
can you say that now?
the
What is the verb
teacher
conjugation?
said, the
Good.
teacher said that you have to write 2 sentences.
Okay, good. Only one more option. I think it's correct. But that's one alternative because you are modifying something. What? That actually, instead of the imperative, you are using the obligation form of you have to. It's correct and it's great, but it's not the exact words, right? So instead, you have to, how can you use one more time the same idea without using an adjective and without using have? What do you say? How can you transmit the idea one more time without using a subject? It means without using you and without using the verb have. Only the idea of write 2 paragraphs. So what do you say?
Teacher said, do 2 sentences.
We're close. We only need one different conjugation. One more time, remember, right? It's going to be like the teacher, or directly you can say Luis said. Instead of the base form there, Nazarena, you need the infinitive. What is the infinitive of do or the infinitive of write? What do you say?
To do, to write.
Correct. Exactly. So
Okay.
one more time, please, with that change, Nazarena.
Okay. The teacher said to write 2 sentences.
Okay, good. Exactly. Or you can change the verb and you can say told us, or you can say gave us this instruction, right? But it's always going to be with infinitive then. All right. Thank you very much, Nazarena. Good.
Okay.
And the last question before going to the presentation, also for you, please, Michaela, very shortly. What are the punctuation rules that you think that we use if we have to use the exact words in Michaela? If you were taking a look and paying attention to my corrections for your partners, right? Karen, Lucia, and Nazarena, I think some of them wrote direct speech. And I gave some corrections in terms of punctuation marks. It means comma or semicolon or colon, quotation marks, periods, etc. So just what you remember, Michaela, what do you think the punctuation rules are?
I think the quotation mark.
Very good, that's one. What else? What else do we need before the quotation mark? There are 2 possibilities.
Oh, I remember that is guion, but I forgot the word in English, sorry.
All right, don't worry. That's a possibility, but actually you don't use that one, dash. You say dash or hyphen. Okay, dash or hyphen. But no, you don't use dash or hyphen. You're going to use colon or comma. All right, dos
okay.
puntos o coma. Okay, colon or comma. Okay, good. So colon or comma, quotation mark. And this is the last question, Michaela. If you want to use a last punctuation mark, period, is the period inside or outside the quotation mark? What do you say?
Inside of the quotation mark.
Correct. Great. Thank you, Michaela. That's correct. Good.
Okay.
So with that, you have these elements, okay? That's the lesson. But let's clarify everything by taking a look at the lesson very shortly to analyze if you have any doubts. Now, this is for you, please, Karen. What is the difference?
I need to read or I need to say something?
Yes, let's read first, and then you're going to identify the differences that you can see.
Okay. The teacher told us complete the assignment. Yes. The teacher told us to complete the assignments. Yes.
Now, what is the difference, the obvious differences that you see, and perhaps the consequence of those differences in these 2 examples, Karen?
Well, the first one we use, how to say this? I don't know how to say in Spanish.
It's what we were saying, remember? Quotation marks.
Yes. The
I'm going
first
to write
one
it
with
just
the quotation marks, and in the second one, we don't use this quotation mark and use to.
exactly. And which one is using the exact teacher's words? Which example is using the exact teacher words?
The first one.
Good. And the last question for you, Karen. What do you think that this acronym stands for? DS and IS.
Direct direct speech and indirect speech, maybe.
Exactly. Correct. That's it. Direct speech and indirect speech. Okay, so now you know that direct speech uses the exact words and indirect speech uses some changes according to tense and according to other details. Now, I told you that this lesson is very simple because here you're not going to learn yet about indirect speech for different tenses. This lesson is only for imperatives. And imperatives are very simple, right? Complete your assignments, write 2 sentences, do this, don't do that, do this, and so on and so forth, right? That's an order. That's an imperative. That's why, again, this is simple. We are only working with imperatives, all right? Let's go to report to the speech. This is the one we're going to be focusing on. And this is yours, please, Lucia. Let's read it, please.
All right. Reported speech. We use reported speech when we want to tell someone what someone said. We usually use a reporting verb, say, tell, ask, etc., and then change the tense of what was actually said in direct speech.
Okay, thank you. Here, as you can say, the common verbs are going to be say, tell, ask. Ask only if you're going to have a question because you have direct questions or indirect questions. But say and tell are going to be the most common verbs. Okay, you can also say state, declare, right? Very common words that are going to be synonyms for these 2 words. All right, but again, report to the speech. Again, you want to tell someone else's words. All right, simple. So far, again, that's it. Now, these are examples of something that perhaps we're not going to cover in this lesson because, again, we're just going to learn about imperatives, but it's important that you can start seeing what you do with reported and indirect speech. And this is for you, please, Micaela. We're divided actually in these 2 parts. The first 2 examples for you, please, Micaela.
Okay. Mary said that her family has traveled. And 2, John told you that he was playing the piano.
Good. Thank you very much. Now, the next 2 are going to be for you, please, Nazarena.
Mariana said that she would complete the assignment. They told the class that the exam had been cancelled.
Thank you, Nazarena. Now, if I ask you, not all of them, but I'm going to ask only some of them. And the first one is for you, Karen. In number 2, what do you think the exact words actually are? Here, we are not using the exact words. We are reporting this speech. But what do you think the exact words were? To identify that one, you need to pretend that you are John. Okay, you are John, Karen. And this is in past, so this is something that happened. It means that perhaps the tense also has to be different. Okay, so you are John, and this is a past event. So what were the exact words that John said?
I need to use the name of John, or I use I.
Yes, let's use I, please, pretending that you are John to have the exact words.
I were playing the piano.
All right, that's a possibility. Remember, when you say I, it's always going to be was. right?
Yes,
Where is going to be incorrect.
Yes.
But if you say that one, actually, it's past, it's still past. If those had been John's exact words, then this indirect speech would be, he had been playing. Okay, he had been playing. That will be here. But as you don't have he had been playing, what else do you think it can be, John's exact words?
Mm, we need to okay. We need to use the sentence in this. Well, John told us is in the past, but when he said that he was playing, we need to use the present. In this case, present continuous.
In this case, yes, because actually that's the rule for the past continuous. And again, that's something that we don't know, Karen. And again, you're trying that one because we haven't learned this yet, but I want to see the logic that we can follow. But yes, that's actually what you have to do. And only because you have past continuous. So that's one of the rules, Karen, that here we're not going to cover, but I'm going to give you like a quick glance at what you're going to cover later on. So when you have an indirect speech in past, and the past continuous is always going to present continuous, the exact words that this person said, okay? I'm with a message that my internet is not stable. I don't know if you were able to hear what I said. Let me know, please. Yes? Okay, so one more time, right? If it's past continuous and this is past, it's always going to be present continuous, all right? Always. Now, if it was the way that you said, Karen, the exact words, imagine that the exact words were I was playing, then that is going to change to I had been playing, okay? Or to he had been playing, because there are some rules. You change simple present to simple past, all right? Past continuous to present continuous to past continuous. When you work on the direct speech, you change simple past to past perfect. You change present perfect to past perfect as well. You change past continuous to past perfect continuous. Okay, so you have rules and you have to follow those rules, but you don't know these rules and we don't know these rules yet. And that's something we're going to be discovering little by little. Okay, but this is one. Have this in mind. Okay. Past continuous in a past indirect report, it's always going to be present continuous. Okay, those are the exact words. Okay, let's only have that in mind. It's not part of this lesson, but it's something that I want to show you here. The next one, please. Thank you very much, Karen. The next one is going to be this one. And I'm going to work now with you, Nazarena. What do you say with number 3, Nazarena? You have to pretend that you are Mariana. So what are Mariana's exact words in number 3? These are not her exact words. What are her exact words?
Okay, I will complete the assignment.
Okay, good, exactly. Thank you, Nazarena, that's correct, right? We use would as the past of will, and in indirect speech, you only use would when you are giving a past report speech, right? So yes, I will complete the assignment. Okay, that's the only possibility over there. Great. The next one, again, this can be a little bit tricky, but let's try to do it. Let's try to work on this one with you, please, Lucia. Number 4. What do you think that the exact words of them are?
The exam, the exam has been canceled.
Good. That's one alternative, and it's correct. And the other alternative is simple past. Both are correct. Good. The exam was canceled, or the exam had been or has been canceled. Right? Good. The present perfect and the simple past are going to go to the past perfect. All right, thank you, Lucia. That's correct. Good. And this one, it's going to be related to a possibility. We're not going to take a look at that one yet. Instead, I'm going to give you a different example later on. Okay, but let's have that in mind, please. You have specific changes for specific tenses, but now you don't have to worry about that yet. Just have those ideas into account. We are only going to cover in imperatives. So this is going to be for you, please, Micaela. Let's read this slide, please. Direct and report to the speech with imperatives.
Okay. In this topic, we'll work with direct and report speech with imperatives. Direct speech, the principal said, go to your classroom. Indirect report speech, the principal said to go to our classroom.
This is what we were saying, right? Thank you very much, Micaela. Direct speech, comma, and actually this is very interesting, girls. Comma is more common than colon, okay? In English or in Spanish, you use more colon, right? You say the principal said, colon, quotation mark, go to your classroom, periods, quotation mark. But in English, comma is a little bit more natural and common. All right, the principal said, comma, quotation mark, capital letter, okay? It doesn't matter that this is a comma. In direct speech, okay, when you work with direct speech, you have to use capital letter. Okay, so quotation mark, capital letter, the exact words, and the period inside the quotation marks. Okay, it has to be inside. And in direct speech, reported speech, you only add what? As we said, you add infinitive. Okay, you keep the same words. Of course, you have to change the possessive, right? Instead of your, you're going to say our. All right, so with that, let's work on this last practice, please. I know that this can be a little bit tiring. So let's have, please, just one practice about this. You're going to be the following, please, girls, okay? Karen, Lucia, Micaela, Nazarena. Let's go to the file again, just in case I'm sharing the link once again. It's over here, but sometimes if you leave the class and you join once again, you don't have it. Let's write only, let's say, first write 3 imperatives. And actually, you're going to try to do something. 2 affirmative and 1 negative imperative. Okay, examples again, go to your classroom is affirmative. Don't go to your classroom is negative. Right, so please, 3 imperatives, 2 affirmative and 1 negative. And after you write those imperative forms, please, let's try to write the direct speech and the indirect speech of those imperatives that you got. Okay, and again, if you want, the only thing you're going to be doing actually is going to be copy and paste, right? Copy and paste. And you only need to work with the punctuation rules that you can see over here. Comma, quotation mark, period, quotation mark, and here infinitive. And try to see what you're going to do with the negative imperative. I'm not going to tell you yet, okay? I want to see what you're going to do. And after that, I'm going to tell you if it's okay, or if not, I'm going to give you the corrections. All right, so to finish, please now, let's do it, girls. Imperatives are very short. So one more time, 3 imperatives, 2 affirmative, 1 negative, and with the 3 of them have direct speech and indirect speech. Okay, you can use any person that you want at the beginning of the speech. Let's do it, please. Let's have.
Sorry,
Yes.
we need to choose if we want to use, for example, 2 sentences with direct speech and 1 with indirect speech.
Actually, let me see the time that we got. It's 17. Because actually, I wanted you to work with the 3 of them, the 2 possibilities. Okay, direct speech and indirect speech. Direct speech and indirect speech.
So
I believe
we have 6 sentences?
6 in total. Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. So yes, we're going to have the time. Let's do it in that way, please. Yeah, it's going to be better to see the differences. So in total, you should have 6, as you said. Okay. Let's do it, please, girls. 3 with the direct speech, 3 with indirect speech, the same 3 imperatives that you're using. And remember that 2 of them are affirmative, and 1 is negative. Let's do it, please. We're going to have 4 to 5 minutes. After that, we give a quick review, a quick revision, and with that, we are done today, right? So let me just have that one over here. Good. Let's have please the 5 minutes and we check. Okay, 1 more minute, please, to finish the last details. Let's remember that we need 3 imperative, right, ideas, and in total, we need 6 examples, right? With the 3 of them in their direct speech form and the indirect speech form. Okay, following, please, these punctuation rules, and remember that one of them has to be negative, and try to see how you can do it in the negative form, mainly in the reported speech. All right, so I'm going to start taking a look at what you're doing so that we can start reading your ideas and complete and finish today's class. All right, so let me see again. This is going to, let me refresh this one a little bit. Okay, good. You're finishing your ideas, it seems. And I think that yes, you have it ready. I'm going to start with you, please, Nazarena. Let's start reading, please, everything that you wrote. Your 6 examples, please.
Okay, teacher. I don't know if it's fine. The boss said, let's change the whole strategic plan. 2, the boss said to let's change the whole strategic plan. Her family told him take care of the house and take the dogs for a walk. Her family told him to take care of the house and take the dogs for a walk. My brother said no one can enter my room without knocking on the door. My brother said no one can enter his room without knocking on the door.
All right, thank you very much. Now, as we're going to have the time, please, to work on these last details, let's do the following, Nazarena. They are not following a bad logic, but I think only the second is going to be correct. Why? Because number 1 and number 2, that's not an imperative, right? We need to work with imperatives. Remember, imperative is the verb in the base form plus any complement. Do your homework, write sentences, start the class, right? Do this. So only the verb. Let's is not imperative. Let's, it's a suggestion. Okay, and that's why we are not going to follow the same rules. Okay, so here, what you can do is eliminate change, or sorry, eliminate let's, and that's it. That is an imperative. Change the whole strategic plan. Okay, good, that one. Also remember here that the period is always going to be inside the quotation mark. All right, if you use the period outside the quotation mark, it is going to be incorrect. Okay, so always inside. Here, I think it's good. Here, the only mistake, the period, right? If it's outside, incorrect. It has to be inside. Okay, for a walk, period, quotation mark. Just that one. So the only one, please, you're going to change as I'm checking your partner's exercises, Nazarena, is the last one. Because if you analyze, this is not an imperative. This is like an order, but it's not imperative because you are using can. Right? And this is related to ability or disability, right? No one can enter the room without knocking. So this is a negative sentence, but this is not an imperative. So change that to negative. How would it be? Good. Don't enter my room without knocking on the door. And how would it be then the indirect speech? Oops, something is missing. Remember the form of the verb in which it has to be. What is the form? Good. So let's read one more time, please. Number 1, 2, and number 5 and 6, please, Nazarena. Now I think it's working great.
Perfect. The boss said, change the whole strategic plan. 2, the boss said to change the whole strategic plan. 5, my brother said, don't enter my room without knocking on the door. And 6, my brother said not to enter his room without knocking on the door.
Great, perfect. Okay, I think now it's working great. I don't know if you have any questions, Nazarena.
Thank you, teacher. So imperative is when we use a verb.
In the base.
Yeah. Okay, it's fine. And
exactly.
Only with don't or won't or doesn't.
And actually, in this one, in imperatives, it's always going to be don't, because if you analyze, always, an imperative is always with you, so only don't.
Okay. Okay.
Good. Thank you, Nazarena. Just to finish, please, this very shortly. This word is going to be whole, like whole, right? That's what the two words are similar, and this is going to be strategic. So let's repeat this one, please. Whole strategic.
Whole strategic plan. Okay, whole strategic. Okay.
Thank you, Nazarena. Good. Now, I'm going with you, please. This is yours, Michaela. Let's do the same, please, Michaela. Let's read your examples.
Okay, the manager said, let's achieve the sales goal. The manager told you to achieve the sales goal. The teacher told you to do the homework before next Friday. The teacher said, do your homework before next Friday. Her mom told her, don't eat after 10 p.m. And her mom told her to not eat after 10 p.m.
Thank you very much, Michaela. In your case, only 2 corrections again, very, very short. Remember that here, it's not an imperative. What is the difference between let's achieve the sales goals and achieve the sales goals? If you say let's achieve, it means that the manager is included, and that's not going to be an imperative. Okay, that's a suggestion, and the manager or the boss is included there. It's we. But if you say achieve the sales goals, it means you do it. I am telling you that you do it. Okay, of course, bosses should or managers should use let's. It's better, right? But only talking about imperatives, you only have to use achieve. All right, because with let's, it's going to be a little bit different. That's the first one. Okay, the first one. The last one in negative is very close, but actually the order is going to be different. Instead of to not eat, the negative of the imperative is going to be not to eat. All right, so you're just going to invert that one to not to eat. All right, and that's the more natural and the formal way to say imperatives in negative. Okay, so one more time, please, just to have that clear, Michaela. Let's read number 1 and number 6 one more time, please.
Okay, the manager said achieve the sales goals, and her mom told her not to eat after 10 p.m.
Exactly, good. Okay, with that, that's everything you should know about imperatives in reported speech. I don't know if you have any questions about those details, Michaela. Let me know, please.
It's clear to me, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you very much. This is yours. Let me see, Lucia. Let's read yours, please, Lucia.
Okay. Yeah. The teacher said, analyze the movie. The teacher said to analyze the movie. Mariana said to us, write the paragraph. Sorry, a period is needed there. Mariana said to write the paragraph. Santiago advised you don't drink cow's milk. Santiago advised not to drink cow's milk.
Good. I think it's working good. Again, just one little detail. Of course, this space doesn't matter. It's just typing. And remember that even though you are, perhaps this was an imperative part of another sentence, it's always a good idea in formal writing to start with a capital letter. All right. Anytime you're working with a direct speech in English. All right. Even though you're using a comma and not a colon, the best option is to use capital letter. Just that one on my side, Lucia. I don't know if you have any questions about imperatives and reported speech.
Professor, in the case of advice, normally advice is not it's something mandatory, but yeah, we use in the same way, right?
Yes, because sometimes imperatives are not always going to be like obligations. Sometimes if you add, for example, please, or if a friend tells you, right, don't do it, it's not that he is ordering you, right? He is just like giving a piece of advice, but in a strong way, right? So if you're using a strong way of advising someone, you can use imperative. But of course, the best options are going to be order or tell for imperatives. But you can use those options, again, if the context tells you that it's a good option. Okay?
Thank you.
Good. No, you're welcome. There you go. And let's finish this out with you, please. Here you are, Karen. Let's read your ideas, please.
Okay, teacher. Okay, before, I have a question number 4, but I guess that after I read, we can sit, right?
Yes, actually, let's see that now. If you analyze, we are only working with imperatives, and imperatives are not questions, right? Only imperatives. That's why this is not working, because it's impossible to work infinitive with a question word where, right? That's why it's incorrect over there. So instead of that one, you can do the following. The imperative, and again, an imperative is not always strong. Sometimes it's kind of soft. So here you can say, for example, they asked, right? Tell me, or even here, ask is not always going to be the best option in this case, because we are not working with questions yet. So just, for example, told us. Okay, and here the imperative is going to be, tell us where the library is. Okay, now this is an imperative. And if you analyze, it's interesting because you have a question inside the imperative, but this is what we call embedded questions, right? I think we covered this one with you both. But if you remember, an embedded question is a question inside another question or inside a statement. So that statement can be an imperative. Okay, so you can use this in this way. So here, the only thing you're going to change is this one, right? So instead of asked, again, it's going to be, they told us. All right, I'm changing the object to tell them, right, where the library is. Okay, so that's an alternative if you want to use a question as a part of an imperative. Okay, now let's read it, please, Karen.
Okay, my mom said, clean up your room. My mom said to clean up my room. They tell us where the library is. They told us to tell them where their library is. Mariana said, don't go out. It's I make a mistake here. It's raining or running. Mariana said to not go out. It's raining.
Good, perfect. Yeah, don't worry, right? It happens. So we're going to change this to rainy, right? Great. One little detail over here, Karen, to finish up with you, it would be, remember that an imperative is a complete sentence. Even though you don't have a subject, it's a complete sentence, right? Even just the word stop is a complete sentence, right? Why? Because stop means you stop. Subject verb, right? So it means that this being a complete sentence is not a good idea to use a comma. Instead, let's use semicolon. Okay, don't go out, semicolon, it's raining. Don't go out, semicolon, it's raining. Okay, just because these are two complete ideas. Don't go out, one complete idea, it's raining, one complete idea. Or if you want to avoid using punctuation mark because it can be confusing, you can use instead the word because. All right, and it's going to give the same idea. Okay, so don't go out because it's raining. It's going to be the same idea, but you are going to avoid the usage of comma. And of course, if you use because, you don't need comma and you don't need semicolon, only the words. Okay, that's the only thing. And of course, don't forget about the punctuation mark at the end of that. And that's it. Just that, Karen. I don't know if you have any more questions or doubts.
No, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, good. There you go. So with that, let's finish today, please. Again, thanks for the extra time you're giving me. It's important for me to try to check your statements, everything that you write, so that you have feedback on my side. As always, I'm sending the survey for today's class. There you go. Let's complete that one, please. And that's it. Again, thanks for being here. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow for the conversation.
Teacher, thank you. Have a good night too. Bye, teacher. Bye, girls.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you, Professor.
Bye,
Bye.
teacher. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Yes, tell me, Lucia. Oh, no, yes, I think she left. Bye-bye.